going to discuss homework. So it is from page 206, 207, and then 208. And then we're going to talk about chapter 8. And the homework will be on page 235. Okay, question, self-test question 1, 2, and 3. And then 236, page 236. Question 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and page 238, 17, 18, and 19. Okay? So I believe we should be able to finish that this week. And April 19, everyone should hand in your homework. Okay, April 19, everyone should hand in your homework. So you have to write on a piece of paper. Okay, you have to give me the written homework. Okay, April 19. Okay, chapter 10. We finished a little bit, but let's continue to move on. So again, this is on the limiting the supply of drugs. But anyway, in my opinion, it's not a good topic because drugs is not something good, right? And so here, if you consider the chart here, before the legalization of drugs, what will there be? There will be penalty. Okay, so there's extra cost. So then, after legalization, okay, supposedly after legalization, because you don't have to worry about being caught, okay, and because it's legal, okay, you can produce, you can produce it at home, or you can set up a factory to produce it. As a matter of fact, this is one of the interesting phenomena. It's called cannabis, right? Okay, when cannabis was legalized, as a matter of fact, a lot of people expect there is going to be a dramatic increase in the market for cannabis. Okay, so a lot of people set up shops, okay, they set up a garden to produce cannabis. But it turns out that it is more than just a whim, okay? Because I don't know why, okay? Supposedly, if cannabis is legalized, right? So let us say, let us draw a chart like this. So this is quantity, this is the price, okay? And this is the supply, okay? And this is the demand. And this is the supply, okay, before legalization. So in this case, the producer has to consider the cost of being caught. Because if he's caught, because it is illegal, right? So if he's caught, he's going to be penalized, either put in jail or pay a fine. So because of that, the supply and demand is like this. And after legalization, there's no such cost. Okay, there's no penalty, there's no fine. So what happened? After legalization, the supply will increase. Okay? So supply curve shift to the right. Supply curve shift to the right, what you're going to see? You're going to see price goes down, okay, quantity goes up. Okay, price goes down, and quantity goes up. So this is Q, that's a Q1, P1, and here you have Q2, P2. Okay, so supposedly there should be a prosperous market for cannabis, but it turns out that it's not quite the case. The reason why, I have no idea, because I haven't checked any detailed report of that. But here's one thing, okay? Why? It could be that, okay? It could be that. After more people get hold of cannabis, they consume it. But in any case, it is drug, okay? It is drug. It is something that hurts your health. And perhaps because of that, more people consume it, and they got into trouble because of their nervous system. It could be that. And the other thing that I tell you about is the widespread opioid, okay? Opioid. Okay, so what is this? It is opium. Okay, basically it is opium. Okay? So, 林玉想 what's opium? Excuse me? Okay. You know, perhaps because more people consume cannabis, opioid, it turns out that they got sick. Okay? And if they got sick, what's going to happen? Of course, they're going to stop it. And then, you know, the authority, they realize that this is a problem. So they have to figure out a policy to deal with it. And of course, I mean, it's a long story, okay? It's a long story. You know, a lot of firms, we call pharmaceutical firms producing, you know, all the opioid. Anyway, I'm not quite sure about spelling. So anyway, producing this kind of drugs, you know, it turns out that they have suffered. Why? Because consumers, okay, the patients, sue all these companies because they oversell it and doctors overprescribe it, okay? And so too many people get out of it and too many people get into trouble and sometimes they get overdosed. And if people get overdosed, what happens? What's overdose? 高嘉燕, what's overdose? 洪凯轩 overdose. 谢欣佑 overdose. 叶一方 excuse me? Louder. Right. Okay? So I'm not sure, I mean, the whole situation is dynamic. When I say dynamic, it means that there's whole interaction between suppliers and consumers. Okay, it's not just one-sided. So even after legalization, and you know, of course, some of the drugs that contains opiums, it is legal. Okay, it is legal. But you know, somehow doctors have done something wrong. They overprescribe it, and pharmaceutical companies oversell it. They tell people that you can get this kind of medicine to deal with your health problem. As a matter of fact, it's not. Okay? So it's a long story and it's a whole company process. And anyway, in the process, some pharmaceutical companies are being sued. Okay? And for those companies being sued, of course, they have to pay penalty. So because of that, they're going to be more careful about their production and also their strategy to sell the drugs. So perhaps because of that, the supply could have shift to the back. Shift to the right, shift back to the original situation, but I have no idea. So basically, you know, legalization of drugs, in my opinion, is never a good idea. But I just don't know the why American people would think of it that, you know, they should legalize it. In my opinion, is never a good idea. If you legalize it, more people are going to suffer from it. And after a dynamic, you know, interaction between supplier and the consumers, maybe the market will shift back to the original situation, but no one knows for sure. Okay. Okay. So let us forget about this. Okay. You can read the book a little bit to tell what's the, you know, long run adjustment there. But in my opinion, it's never a good idea. Okay, for gains from trade. But you know, when we talk about gain from trade, in the book there are some questions like this. It really depends. And so at this point, okay, there's a term we call economic sanction. Economic sanction. Okay, economic sanction. 郑怡玲, what is economic sanction? Economic sanction. 金圣岛 economic sanction. No idea. 卢佑祥, 黄秋慧 economic sanction. Okay, good. It happened now, right? Which country being sanctioned? Exactly. So, what is the gain from trade? The market is free trade. Free trade is good, right? Because I can buy your product. So let us say Russia, right? Russia has a lot of oil and natural gas, and we don't have it, right? So if they have it, and we can buy from them, okay, and it is cheap, so it's good, right? But what happened now? We have economic sanction. So why there's economic sanction? Yu Huayuan, why there's economic sanction? Sorry, Yu Huayuan not here. Yu Nianping, why there's economic sanction? If there's gain from trade, right? Because, as a matter of fact, if we have trade, so for example, Taiwan and China, right? We only have 23 million people. How many people in China? 1.4 billion. Okay? So if we can sell, let us say, one bottle of water to one person in China every day, right? How many we sell them? 1.4 billion bottles, right? It's amazing. But the same thing applies to Russia. I mean, they have a lot of resources. We can use it, cheaply. So why we have economic sanction? Why? Why we have economic sanction? Because Putin sent armies to Ukraine, right? Do you like that? No, because it killed a lot of people, right? And so because of that. So anyway, the benefits about trade is that you expand the market. Okay, so U.S., Taiwan, right? Because we have free trade, so we can have a lot of production, right? And we have what's that called specialization. As we all know, right? Taiwan is a very small island. We only have 23 million people, right? If you set up a factory, okay, and if you produce, the market is so small, right? And so if you produce bread, computers, whatever, right? The market is so small. Remember, there's a term we call economies of scale. Economies of scale. Right? What is economies of scale? What's economies of scale? Okay, so what does that tell you? You will be in the test. Economies of scale, Q goes up. What happened? LAC goes down, right? But in terms of Taiwan, if we sell only for Taiwanese, right? The market is so small. So what happened is that there's only limited technology you can use. So for example, let us say cars, okay? If you want to reach economies of scale in car production, how many cars you have to produce per year? The answer is about 600,000, right? But how many cars were sold in Taiwan each year? Probably less than 50,000. I'm not quite sure, but probably not that many, okay? So in this case, what happened? Can Taiwan produce cars efficiently? The answer is no, right? Because you only produce for your own market. So let us say if you can produce for not just Taiwan, okay, also US, also China, even the whole world, what happened? You can use technology to specialize your production, okay? So that's the reason we say trade is good, because you expand the market. You expand the market, okay, you can use better technology, you can specialize the production, and so what you get? You're going to get economies of scale. Okay, so that's the reason. There's a car company called Volkswagen. So Toyota, right? There are some famous car company, Toyota and Volkswagen, GM, right? All these car companies, they don't produce, GM just don't, they produce not only for themselves, American, but also for, people in Canada, also people in Mexico. So because of that, they can use better technology to specialize production. So what do they use? They use a lot of robots, right? So they can make the production more efficient. Okay, so that's the good thing about free trade. So why we're gonna have free trade is because you can use better technology and also more efficient production means you have lower costs. Okay, we gonna talk a little bit about here. Probably also in the homework we're gonna see something like that here. So anyway. Okay. So NAFTA, okay, is a free trade agreement between US, Canada, and Mexico. But you can tell, right? American people, they have better technology, so they're going to produce something more high tech. And in Mexico, okay, usually you may consider that Mexico is not very advanced in technology, so what will they be good at? They will be good at labor intensive production, for example, tomato, right? So Mexico going to produce tomato, okay, in exchange for American cars or some other, high-tech equipment. So another example is that in Taiwan, we have many famous computer companies. For example, Asus. Some people used to pronounce Asus, but in my opinion, it's kind of strange. And the other one, Acer, right? All these companies, as far as I can tell, if they open the factory just one day, they can produce all the keyboards that is demanded by the whole world, right? So very efficient. But, if the market is only in Taiwan, what are they going to do? They're going to be in trouble. So free trade is important for Taiwan, just like the same thing for TSMC, right? Okay, TSMC produce for the whole world, okay? If they just produce for Taiwan, they're going to be in trouble because they won't be as efficient as it is now. Okay, let's move on. I think rent control, we talk about this, short-run equilibrium and long-run equilibrium, okay? If you have rent control, of course, people, students gonna love it, right? Because you pay lower rent. But in this case, the landlord gonna suffer, right? And so in the long run, what is going to happen? In the long run, there will be fewer houses available to students or to renters, and that is not good. So now let me give you one example here. So around 2008, because oil prices is very high, it once reached $145 one barrel. Okay, so that's even more expensive now. At this point, it's probably something around $110 per barrel. It used to be $145 barrel. Okay, so then of course it is very expensive. And because oil is expensive, right? Because oil is expensive, a lot of people are looking for substitute. Okay? So Yunyanting, what is substitute? because oil is expensive, so people are looking for substitute. What is substitute? 黄秀慧 substitute. 黄秀慧 substitute. We talked about this before. 吴耀祥 substitute. Right. Okay. So what kind of substitute they look for? It is called biofuel. So, 吴耀祥 what would be biofuel? Biofuel. Or something we call renewable. And one of it is alcohol. Okay, what is alcohol? 谢欣佑, what is alcohol? Right, exactly. Why alcohol is renewable? Because you plant sugar, okay? I mean sugar cane. 叶一方, what's sugar cane? Sugar cane. 洪凯轩 sugar cane. 高嘉燕 louder. Right. So it is here, right? Our campus used to be the plantation of a lot of sugar cane. But some people use corn, okay? It's a long story. Let me try to finish as short as I can. So because oil is expensive, people are looking for substitute, right? Okay? And, well, what you're going to do? You're going to use a lot of corn, sugar cane, and to produce what? To produce alcohol, okay? And so, because of that, a lot of corn is actually consumed by chicken, okay? By ox, by cows, right? So that's the food, okay, for animals. And because all these produces, okay, they are consumed by all the animals. And now they are taken away from the animals and to feed the factory to produce alcohol. So what happened? The price of food, okay, the price of food gonna go up. Okay, the price of food gonna go up. So at the same time you're gonna get wheat, the price of wheat going up, rice going up, okay? So the price of food is going up. Okay? And now, so let us say Thailand. Okay, Thailand and Vietnam. These two countries produce a lot of food, okay? And the main produce is rice. Okay? So because food is expensive, rice is expensive, and that's not good for people, right? Consumers need to consume, and if they pay a lot out of their pocket, they won't like it, right? And so what happened is that, Thailand and Vietnam, okay, ban exports of rice. Okay? So, Liu Yuxiang, what's ban? Okay? So they don't allow their rice to go out. Okay? So then, the question is, the government of Thailand and Vietnam, they ban exports of rice. Okay? Is this good for Thai people and Vietnamese in the short run and the long run? So there are two cases. One is short run, the other one is long run. Okay? So tell me your answer. Hong Kai-Shun. So they ban export of rice, okay? Thailand's government and Vietnam government, they ban export of rice. Is it good for the people of Thailand and Vietnam? Is it good or bad? Short run, long run? Bad. Why? Long run, short run? Long run bad. Why? Short run good? Also bad. So, Give me your reasoning. Okay, 谢金佑. Is it good or bad? The same thing about rent control. The reasoning is the same. Good or bad? Bad. Long run, short run. Okay, let me ask you. In the short run, okay, the rice in Thailand and Vietnam is going to be cheaper or more expensive? In the short run. Cheaper. Why? Supply goes up? Okay. Because Thailand farmers and Vietnamese farmers, they used to export rice, right? So rice go out. But now they banned it, right? Can this rice go out? No more, right? So the rice has to stay in Thailand and Vietnam. And so what happened is that domestic supply goes up, right? Domestic supply, because it used to be that whole lot of rice going out, and this rice cannot go out anymore, right? So it stay in Vietnam, stay in Thailand. So you have more supply, because used to go out, have to stay. So it turns out that it's sort of like increasing supply domestically, okay, inside the country. And so what happened is that price gonna go down inside Thailand and inside Vietnam, okay? So consumer will be happy because increasing supply, what happened? The price gonna go down, okay? So indeed, they're gonna have cheaper rice to consume. But what about in the long run? Long run. In the long run. What happened in the long run? No idea. 曾怡玲 in the long run. In the long run. 黄秀慧 in the long run. What is going to happen? In the long run? 于念婷 in the long run. Gao Jiayan in the long run. Lin Yuxiang in the long run. No idea. You are Zhang Cewei, right? No. Who are you? Excuse me? Chen Xizai. So what happened in the long run? Excuse me? Bad. Why? Really? Okay, first you have to notice, when the export of rice is banned. So in the world supply gonna go down, okay? Because some of the rice in Vietnam and Thailand used to be exported, but now they cannot export this. So for the whole world, for the rest of the world, the price of rice gonna go up, okay? Even though domestically, inside Thailand and Vietnam, the price of rice gonna go down, but outside Thailand and Vietnam, the price is going to go up because of the reduction in supply. And what about in the long run? In the long run, it's quite easy to understand because now the farmers, they used to export their rice, okay, and they get a better price of it, but now they are not able to export it. So the price go down, right? For farmers, okay, Hong Kai-Xuan, for farmers, if you are the farmers in Vietnam or Thailand, will you produce more or less?
Less.
Why? Because the price go down. So in the long run, it's gonna be bad. So this is the same thing we talk about rent control. Okay, so in the short run, consumers, that's the renters, they're gonna get benefit out of it because the rent go down. But in the long run, what's going to happen? In the long run, because fewer producers, so that is the landlord, right? Landlords will not offer their room for rent, okay? So because of that, consumers gonna suffer, and that is the same thing here. Okay, let's move on. And the agricultural price support, we talked about it before. We won't discuss it. And the other things that I believe will be more interesting to all of us is, the market for human eggs and organs. So this is what we ended up last time. Do you have remote control? Because you turn it off and turn it on again. Okay, we probably don't need the overhead projector, but we talk about the market for organs, okay? Okay, Chen Xizhan, what's organ? And eggs. Chen Xizhan, what's organ? We talked about it last time. Lin Yuxiang, organ. Okay? So let us say if your lung, your liver, or your kidney, got some problems, so what would you need? You need to have organ transplant. Organ transplant. Okay? So, sorry, Xie Xingyou, what's organ transplant? Okay. No, not really. The last two words you say is donation. So, organ transplant. Move. Organ transplant. Organ transplant. Okay, exactly. Okay. So, as a matter of fact, organ can save lives, right? Organ, just like drugs. Sorry, I mean medicine. Okay, when I say drug, I mean medicine. Medicine can save lives. There's a price for medicine, right? And what about organ? Okay. And some of you, of course we don't want that to happen, but suppose you are not able to have babies, what would you need? You may need eggs, okay? Or maybe sperm, whatever it is. If there's a price, okay, what's wrong with that? So, for example, I regularly donate blood, okay? I donate blood. Is it good or bad? I don't take any money. Right? But suppose, there's a price for your blood. Will that be better? Okay, now the question is, Jin Zhendao, if there is a market for blood, will that be better for everyone? If there's a market for blood, will that be better for everyone? What happened now? If you look at the news report, because of the pandemic, right? A lot of people, they don't want to go out. So because they don't want to go out, they forget about, donating blood because they don't want to get together with too many people, right? So they stay at home. They don't go out to donate blood. So what happened? There is a shortage of blood in Taiwan. So, is it good or bad to have a market for blood? Good or bad? So tell us your opinion. Okay. Why? But anyway, the point is we have shortage of blood, right? How can you solve it? If it's voluntary, right? It's voluntary. You know, I did not donate blood until I was probably 25 years old because, you know, it hurts, right? The needle, a very huge needle, you know, stick into your arm, right? It hurts. It really hurts. And it hurts perhaps for 30 minutes, okay? And you have to stay there. You cannot do anything. So what's wrong with giving you some money to donate blood? It can solve, okay, it could solve the shortage of blood, right? And organ is even a bigger issue, okay? Why? Because a lot of people, they have to use dialysis, okay? There's something wrong with their kidney, you know, the malfunction of that cause them have to, you know, probably 2 times or 3 times a week, okay, to do dialysis. So that's painful, right? That's painful. And it's not comfortable. All you need is what? 1 kidney. And you have 2, right? So can you give me 1? No. Why not? You break my heart. Go ahead. But suppose there's a market for it, right? Of course, heart is a problem, right? Because you only have 1 heart. If you donate your heart, you're done, right? But kidney, you have 2, right? Suppose there's a market for it. Why not? Okay? But there are some countries notorious of this. One is India, and the other one is China. Okay? A lot of people, some people, okay, some criminals in China, they're going to be executed, they're going to be killed. And so what happened? Why not just take their organs, right? Just like in Taiwan, some people, you know, have to, you know, face capital punishment, you know, they have to die. And so if they die, they die. But suppose if they donate their organs, you know, still they can help some people. But the point is, do you know this person really willingly to donate their organs? The answer is no, right? And so sometimes we call harvest. People, you know, for whatever reason, you know someone gonna die, just take it away. And he is still alive, okay? The point is he's still alive, but you make it die, right? So there's some other problems there. But you know, it's kind of interesting because now many people, they cannot have children, and so, you know, for eggs, that's fine, right? Because you have so many eggs, you can produce a lot of eggs, right? But organ, of course, is limited. Well, let's take a break.